Welcome to Rain City Supercars. I'm Nick.
I'm Dan.
I want to go back to Wyoming.
I do too. But first, we're coming at you live at Drivers Club, and we're brought to you by Avance, Carter Subaru, Haggerty, Rainier Beer.
Yeah. Not Wyoming.
Not Wyoming. We're not in Wyoming anymore.
Okay.
Which was fantastic.
Oh, my God, yes.
Did some surfing, a lot of surfing.
A lot of surfing.
A lot of time in the water.
Yeah. Didn't fish. I think I want to fish next year. As much as I bitched about it, I think I want to fish next year.
Oh, we'll get you a fly rod. We'll practice.
Well, I figured after walking up that river the last time, I could stand in the river and I'm good. I'm not going to go with the Old Navy flip-flops anymore while trying to be in the river. I'll tell you that. That's those $2 I spent for that they did not lose them.
Yeah.
I did donate them when I got home, though.
That's good. No. I am going to invest in a bug spray company or a mosquito repellent company. I don't know which one it is, but
you should just invest in bats.
Yeah,
don't bats kill Mercedes.
Mosquitoes?
Mosquitoes, yeah, those. Yeah.
Yes, they do, and they're declining, which is sad. But
wow, took a little eco note there.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was a fantastic place. I mean, it's Wyoming, so it's like when we went on vacation, we very intentionally, did a lot of social distancing, and it's really easy to do in Alpine because there's like 100 people in Alpine, south of Jackson, and so we had a very safe, very awesome vacation away from crowds and everything, and it was paradise for us.
Wake surfing, donuts, sloshies. Oh my God, yeah. So
did you have one this morning?
No, I did. That was the secret. I filled mine up, and then I kept passing it around to people, and so I didn't actually drink a lot of it. So it's okay, yeah.
Wyoming was wonderful, though, and so if you guys aren't familiar with Alpine, a lot of our listeners are motorcycle people and snowmobiling people, and so if you guys are in the snowmobiling crowd, I know we have a lot of listeners that are, there's a really popular series that started back in the 90s, actually, called Slednex, VHS, old school. That originated in Alpine, Wyoming, and Slednex, if you haven't heard of that, go YouTube that, for one, because you'll see some of the craziest stuff you've ever seen in a snowmobile in your life. These are the guys that were like full throttle on the snowmobile, off the bank, into the frozen lake, and onto the other side. Slednex started that. That was their thing. Like, they were the ones doing backflips on snowmobiles, those guys. That's Alpine, Wyoming, if that tells you anything. One of the things I loved about it, though, and I didn't get to experience, is there's so much off-roading there. Everywhere, and it's right next to Idaho. I mean, it's like 25 miles from Idaho, so the off-roading there...
It's not 25 miles, it's like 25 feet from Idaho.
Right, yeah. There's a couple times you're crossing over into Idaho.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, the off-roading there would be amazing. And we were talking about, like, man, we should get a Raptor. And Nick over here is going, I need a Bronco.
I want a Bronco.
And we're all going, yeah, you do need a Bronco.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use that as our Carter Subaru Tech Tip of the Week. And a special shout-out to previous guest, listener, friend, Kevin Flynn, because it found out today.
Acquaintance. No.
Kevin Flynn, Peanut Butter Jelly Time Kevin Flynn, same guy, also wants one of these. And he found out that you cannot get the Sasquatch package, which is like the upgraded everything version of the new Bronco, in the 7-speed with the crawl gear.
Which doesn't make sense.
So he started an online petition. Well, that petition got like 7,000 signatures immediately, and Car and Driver published a story on it today, giving credit to Kevin. I'm like, of course you did. So
he tends to get things done. I don't know. He's been on Jalopnik how many times?
Yeah, he did the Top Gear set thing.
That's right.
Yeah. Interesting guy. But anyway, so I want to talk about crawl gears and the difference between a crawl gear and a first gear and what they exist for. So a crawl gear is sort of like it sounds. It's meant for crawling. When you're crawling off-road and going over really large obstacles, you're not going for speed. That's king of the hammer stuff. For the rest of us who don't have unlimited funds to braking, suspension, and frames, what you want is to crawl really, really slow while you go over really difficult obstacles. And the crawl gear is made for that. Precision control at really, really low speed. And I mean low speed, like think of it like in first gear, in one of those, I did some research here, that vehicle will do 32 miles an hour. If you're doing 32 miles an hour in first gear over a large obstacle, you're going to break everything under the truck.
Yeah.
What the crawl ratio is let's see here. It's exactly 6.588. So that is...
Well, duh.
Yeah. What that equals out to is 95 engine rotations for one turn of the tire.
Yeah.
So maximum speed in crawl gear in the new Bronco is 6 miles an hour. What's the advantage of that? You can let out the clutch entirely.
Just get out of the car and let the Bronco go up the hill.
Well, you can let out the clutch entirely, and you're not slipping the clutch anymore.
Yeah.
Because you have such a slow speed, you're putting down all that torque at the lowest possible gear. So when you're going up a really tight trail, your tires are aired down, you're locked in, you're not looking for speed. You're looking for just crawling up it without breaking anything. Precision control. So really cool stuff. For first gear, it's 4.28. Like I said, that'll do 32 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So you can automatically see the advantage there. I know that's a really high-level overview. Some of the other people are freaking out telling me there's more to it than that. Yes, I know. But
have you watched some of the commercials Ford's put? I mean, Ford just got done. If you haven't seen it yet, go online. They just did the Rubicon Trail with these Broncos, and it's actually really cool. I mean, Jeep is in trouble. I will say that.
Yeah, they really are. Jeep did put out that thing about the new Rubicon coming with the optional, I think it's SR 392, which is cool. I mean, about time you put a big V8 in the thing. I like that, but you don't need that power unless you've got the suspension.
It's something small, but it's something that everybody bitched about in the Wranglers, and then Bronco listened. They put the mirrors on the car, which means when you take the door off, you don't take the mirrors off. Okay, I'm over it.
Anyway, Carter Subaru tip of the week. That's how crawl gears work. They're basically a very, 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 very low first gear, or tall first gear technically. Yeah. So
96 to 1. Wow.
Yeah, huge, insane ratio. So, and I think as far as I know, and I tried to look, I couldn't find a single other vehicle on the market for the consumer market that has a manual crawl gear now. There's commercial trucks that have them because you want to move trailers really, really slow under heavy torque, but I couldn't find anything else. So good job for Ford. I'm glad they're doing it. Right now, kind of only available in the 4-cylinder with the 7-speed, which is, again, at that low of a ratio, that's a ton of torque. You don't need a big V8 with that. And the 10-speed is going to have its own crawl gear in the automatic. So I kind of see why they didn't, honestly.
Did you hear that Ford, they convinced, is it Goodyear that has the Wrangler tire?
Yeah.
They convinced them to make a tire for the Bronco that doesn't say Wrangler on the side?
It's the same tire. It just doesn't say Wrangler on it.
Yeah, which makes sense. You don't want to advertise your competitor.
Right, yeah. So anyway, good stuff. We have a really interesting guest this week.
You just can't get rid of her. Please, can I come back on? Please.
A big fan favorite, one of our most popular episodes, and always here for a great story. Kiki Wolfkill, welcome back to the show. We're so excited to have you.
You guys are like digging at the bottom of the barrel, bringing me back. You're like,
Oh, that's why we just send Carl out for the great guests.
We need someone super local.
Yep. If she's back in the country yet, or wherever she is.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You've lived quite the interesting life the last year or so since you've been on.
A lot of our guests have that. They come on our show and then their lives really take off.
Just leave.
Yeah. That's how
you
it goes.
guys were really the springboard.
Yeah, I mean,
Boy, if we were the springboard for your career, you've got problems.
Yeah. You need to change careers immediately. Yeah.
No, we are very excited to hear what has been going on with your career, because you've been in Budapest for 6 months.
Gosh, how long? When was I here last? Was it a year?
It's got to be a year. Yeah. It's got to be a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
So I came back from. Does my mic sound?
You're perfect. Yeah.
I was adjusting
you sound exactly
it.
like
I can't get to my drink with the mic where it is.
Dan put the mic too close to your mouth. You can't drink.
Yeah.
Oh. God, you're ruining our guests.
I will get you a straw.
I think he knows me too well.
Yeah. Side sip. Exactly. Yeah.
After we went into production on the TV show after I saw you guys last. So I went back. We're shooting in Budapest. So pretty much was there from October until March when we came back. About a week into lockdown here. It was a little bit slower there.
Just in case somebody hasn't heard their other episode, I think we should go back and kind of define who you are and what you are doing. Like, she's got a TV show for a small video game.
Yes, which everybody is really excited for. So what is your current role now? Because you were studio head, right?
Yeah, well, I'm studio head for Transmedia, which is basically sort of all of the storytelling and experiences outside of the game. So
for
how
Halo.
we bring
for
people
Halo.
into Halo.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Little startup.
Burying the lead.
Yeah.
So yes, I work on the Halo franchise, Halo video games. I have been with 343 since 2008, working on Halo since it was founded. Was with Microsoft Game Studios. Before that, did some work with Bungie on Halo 3 and a bunch of other games. I focused on racing games for many, many years as an art director, and then started to get more into some different genres. So worked on the Gears franchise, and Mass Effect, and Fable franchise.
All the good
stuff. All the fun stuff.
It's too bad she's not worked on anything successful. Huh?
And then found my way to Halo, and I was already a huge Halo fan. So the opportunity to join 343 and help build that studio was amazing. So I was the EP on Halo 4, and then after Halo 4 sort of moved into looking at entertainment and linear storytelling and just how we bring people into the Halo universe in some different ways.
Cool.
Very cool.
So tell us about the TV show.
So the TV
well,
show.
what you can and how you're doing that. And
Yeah. So, I mean, it's funny because these things take forever. And we are partnered with Amblin and with Showtime. And they've been incredible partners, actually. Mr. Spielberg is a huge video game fan and actually knowledgeable about games, a fan of Halo, and so having their support and knowledge is extraordinary.
I had no idea he was linked to that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
very cool.
He's a legit gamer.
I've heard that. And I probably may have heard it from you the last time you were here, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it in Ready Player One, right?
Oh, yeah.
You definitely get a sense that he's
Fan service the movie.
He's got legit nerd DNA.
I don't know why people beat on that movie. Like
I
was like watching my childhood. Like
nobody
that
should.
and that.
Nobody should
Yeah.
on that movie.
No.
So we're shooting in Budapest. We had to come back. Obviously, we had to shut production down over there when COVID hit. Again, it came a little bit later there, so we came back a little bit after everything shut down here. And we've been super busy. You know, it's amazing across both the game and the show and all of that, like what you can figure out to do from home. And in some ways, we actually, because when you're on set, when you're in production, everything is moving so fast, you actually don't have a time to like sit down and kind of catch up on things and, take the time you really need to look at every single detail. And we've now had the luxury of being able to do that at home. So we're distributed all over the world, but we spend probably 6 hours at least in meetings over the course of the week, reviewing things, talking through things, and it's allowed us to, I think, spend a little more time on some areas that's hard to do when you're in the middle of production. So it's actually been great. Yeah. And now we're just trying to figure out how to go back.
How to get back
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, some productions, local productions are starting to open up, and, you hear a lot about like a movie where they'll just sort of quarantine the whole crew. We're a little bigger than can contain that, so we've got a crew over there trying to figure out what needs to be true for us to go back. What does production need to look like? It's fairly daunting.
That's a lot of moving pieces.
It is
on a global scale.
It is like it's crazy, and then there's getting all of us over there, especially because we're like the Florida of the world right now. In terms of
interesting way to put
people's
that, but
desire
very accurate. Yeah.
We're all like Florida man right now.
No, Americans.
Oh,
yeah. Been called worse. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been super intense, and really cool. Like it's been an amazing learning experience for me. I've done a lot in live action and CG for television ads, and we've done sort of 90-minute digital films and all that. But this really long format, premium cable storytelling is new and has been an incredible experience for me to learn from.
That's going to be so cool.
I can't wait. I've been waiting for this since like Halo 1. So I'm like, this needs to be on the screen. Yeah.
Sadly, though, I thought I was going to be over there when the Hungarian Grand Prix was.
Oh, that would have been nice.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Everything
my plans
was
were
It's so
foiled.
weird watching stuff now with nobody in this, like watching F1 or something like that. It's like there's nobody there screaming, or,
Yeah.
Empty track.
streaking across the track, the usual things.
Let's take our first break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little more about life in Budapest and the show and other adventures you've been on, because you have been busy since you've been back, too.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back.
We spend an average of 8 hours and 41 minutes a day facing screens. Laptops, smartphones, tablets, even digital refrigerators. But what are we really connected to? Isn't it time you connected to something greater? Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was created by Haggerty for people who love cars.
And we're back. Look at us. Here we are.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to know a little bit more about Budapest because I know nothing about it as the culture and stuff like that. I think it's kind of an interesting. So you were over there for how long? 6 months before?
Yeah, I was there, from October, I can't add 5 months, so October to March. And then I would come back like once a month.
Okay.
For a week or 5 days or something, so.
Because, I mean, like we were joking about, actually before we started, we were joking about keys and things like that, and you said you were driving past the, what was it?
The Hungary has the parts factory, the Porsche parts factory.
Parts factory, you know.
Yeah.
Just thinking about knocking on the door and asking for a few things, yeah.
I did look it up, seeing if there was any way I could get in there, but it was all in Hungarian, and yeah.
Where's Auto Translate when you need it?
Right?
I know.
Microsoft should work on that.
When I go back, I will solve the problem of
just start shipping parts back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kiki got a small job in the export division of the Porsche, things going.
What is driving over there? Did you drive over there and everything?
I do not. So I am fortunate enough to have a driver over there, which is good because it's about 45 minutes from out to the studios or wherever, and I'm usually in meetings in the car during that time.
Uh-huh.
So I have not driven over there. However, I will when I eventually go back. I mean, Vienna is hours away. Like, there's so many amazing road trips. So I'll just rent a car and.
Yeah, it looks beautiful over there.
Yeah, it is. It's gorgeous.
How's the car scene?
It's interesting. You'll see some pretty not standard, but you don't see a lot of tricked out cars there. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So you'll see sort of the
More
very
stock.
very wealthy. You'll see McLarens out there. You'll see Ferraris, Lamborghinis, but typically only in front of the Four Seasons.
Well,
Yeah.
Do they ever really leave when they're in front of the Four
Yeah.
Seasons? Yeah. People have them dropped off there. Yeah.
Exactly.
So many roads around there, though.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah, I would just be gone every day for.
Yeah. It's just hard. So my apartment's actually is in the city, and so there's just not like parking and like just all of that. Those logistics are beyond my tiny brain. So when the time comes, I will rent a car and head out into the hinterlands.
Go out into the hills and scare yourself. Yeah. You know how to drive.
And Hungaroring is there, so I'll also try and figure out how to do a track day or two over there.
Maybe just see if there's something sneaking around at Porsche that you can borrow for the
From
day.
my parts factory.
Absolutely.
scheme.
Put something together.
Jumping around a little bit, you just did a track day this last weekend.
I did. I was out on Saturday
So
with the turn 2. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So, and you've got the GT4 still.
Yes. I love the GT4. I will have the GT4 until I feel like I've really sort of hit the limits of it.
Hard to do in that car.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So I was on the list for the new GT4, and our names came up, and I was like, I'm just, as much as I would love it, until I get to the limits of this one, there's just no reason for me to switch over.
Yeah, you've already got a great car, so.
Yeah, and I feel like there's still a ton of runway there, so, and I love it. Like I love that car. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
That's what Davis has, right?
Yep.
GT4. I mean, they're just so much fun.
Well, I don't have to do anything,
Yeah.
right? Tires and brake pads.
Mhm.
And that's literally it. I'll put harnesses in because
It makes sense.
it is. It does.
Safety.
It's more I just spend so much energy hanging on.
Right. It's nice to have something to hold you in place on the track. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're exerting physical energy, keeping yourself in place versus, fully focused on the car, it's not ideal.
Yeah. And also, when you got back, you guys, you went on a nice road trip. I was enjoying the Airstream photos.
We did. So
You're living my dream by
Yeah, exactly.
Having an Airstream is one of my
super jealous.
That's on my list. Yeah.
So yeah, I have loved RVs since a kid. It was super weird when I was little. I had like the little Lotus Esprit James Bond car model, and I had the Aston Martin James Bond model, and I had a Winnebago car model. Like those were my
Makes sense.
my three toy cars. Yeah. No, the Airstream's been a dream. It's amazing. We have a Cayenne GTS, which we tow it with, which is just extraordinary. Like, you can do anything with that combo. So yeah, we went out for a couple weeks, and last time we went out, we kind of did a big northern loop around Canada, And this time we decided to go out when literally everyone and their mother is out RVing and camping and glamping and everything. And so
Social distancing.
it was super crowded.
Yeah.
But what we did was we went down to the coast. We went down to Joshua Tree where I'd never been. It was blazing hot.
Yeah.
It was blazing hot, and through a crazy mix-up, we weren't plugged in.
It's not like you were in a giant metal tube, so
Right,
you're fine.
in a giant metal tube
You're
in the
good.
desert
Yeah,
in
it's
104.
Yeah.
So interior temps 120, 130.
It was surprisingly manageable, but by like morning 3, because we were going to head to Utah, we were going to hit Zion on Bryce. We're like, we are out. Like, I checked the temperature at Zion. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
So we hit the coast. We went to the beach. We went to Ventura. Spent a few days there.
I'm just picturing like the big stone oven that is Zion and Bryce, and
Oh my
then you
God.
in a metal oven
Right?
inside of the stone
Right?
oven.
Yeah. Yeah. It literally was like 7 in the morning. I'm looking at my phone. We're out of
We
here.
parked this in the Narrows.
It was brutal. But we ended up spending a few days in Bend. Too.
Oh, that's nice. I'll cool you down.
We went up the coast, went through Monterey, and yeah. So it was nice. But like I said, when you're trying to work and be on vacation, which really never works, like purely my own fault, you're searching for cell signal. You're sitting in some crappy parking lot because it happens to have a signal for an hour.
Back up 6
on
inches. I think I got 3 bars. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we were in Alpine, and one of our friends had a work call, and it was like, all right, everybody off your phones, everybody off the Wi-Fi, because like high-speed internet in Alpine, Wyoming is still a high-speed internet circa like 2003, which is like, here's your DSL line, 2 up, 1 down.
Yeah. Alpine sounded amazing, though.
That was the part. That's what made it amazing, is the fact that
Yeah.
there's no cell phone service.
Yeah.
There's no,
You have like one little like area in town where you get a signal, then nothing, and it's wonderful.
Which was at the
we
donut
won't
shop,
do
which
that.
was good. So yeah.
We won't do that again. We had about 48 hours with no cell signal. And after, like the first 15 minutes of like anxiety.
Pure panic. Yeah.
Then yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It was amazing.
A little tiny project on your plate. I can't imagine the anxiety you would have had.
Exactly. What am I missing? Nothing big.
Yeah.
You're
It's
fine.
fine.
You're
Somebody else will figure it out.
Yeah.
Yes. Somebody else.
I was able to do like a huge like VFX worldwide like video call from the Airstream, which was awesome.
So
pretty
cool.
neat.
Yeah, sitting in some like fancy RV park, which we stayed at so that I would have some kind of cell signal.
I love it. You make it work.
So I want to know more about the Airstream. Like, how long have
Yeah.
you owned it? Like, what
Yeah.
did you spec it yourself? How? I mean, because that's a big thing. I'm watching a bunch of YouTube series now of people that are either buying the old ones and they're redoing them,
Yeah.
or yeah.
So if I had it to do over again and I was a more patient person, I would probably get an old one and redo it.
Yeah.
The new ones are great, and I love it. We've had it 4 years maybe. I think the finishing is different now than it was before, and so, but they still have a soul. Like that's the thing about them is they definitely have a soul and a personality, and I mean it's luxurious. Like it feels super luxurious to be in that thing. I have Xbox in there, and
Imagine that.
All the essentials.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Only the camping
Exactly.
essentials.
I can play Xbox from the shower or from the kitchen.
That's right.
Yeah.
And there's a whole community, right? Like when Airstream people see Airstream people.
They're like the Volkswagen buses of RVs.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty
I
much.
think that's a compliment.
It is.
No.
It's totally, I take it as
Yeah,
a
okay.
compliment.
I want a
Yeah.
Volkswagen bus.
Yeah. But yeah, the Airstream's incredible. I highly recommend it. It's tough because we debate a lot about, do you want to be towing something or do you want to just get it, because we look at those Sprinter build outs and man, that's super enticing. But then when we're sitting there having coffee at the nice kitchen table and I'm like, I don't know.
I think you got the best of both worlds there because you can disconnect the Airstream.
Yes.
And the Cayenne is still fun to drive.
It's awesome.
Like it's not a roly-poly off-roading SUV. It's like if you want to go hit some canyons outside
and we
of
can put our
somewhere.
bikes on there.
Yeah.
We can bring our paddle boards and
Yeah, that's the way to go in my book. I don't know. The Sprinters are cool, but they're cool if you like off-road them.
yeah.
So it's not the same.
Yeah.
You know?
But you can just get in it and go,
Yeah.
right? That's the difference.
Airstream's light and easy though.
I think what I'm hearing is you need both.
I like the way you think.
I'm hearing Sprinter van that pulls
A boat?
No, but yes. No, the Sprinter van that pulls the Airstream.
Yes.
There you go. And then you can do. But then again, you still need the Porsche. So
Yeah.
you're gonna need the
I
boat
know,
trailer
I
behind
know.
that, and then the car trailer.
Do they
pulling
make
the
a toy
GT4.
hauler Airstream that I can put like a half deck on?
I don't know if Airstreams are wide enough.
I feel like it's enough money, you know.
I still
Throw
want one of
money
those
at it.
multi-million.
They have them now. You can. I think you can buy a conversion, or maybe they make them now
Make 'em wider.
with those things that come out.
There was and you've seen it. There's an infamous RV, and I don't know if they made one of them that has a car underneath it. You drive the car into the platform, and then it sucks it under, and then and I'm like, and you have to have a Ferrari or a Porsche because there's a height restriction.
Aerial Adam.
Yeah.
Aerial, and that works too.
The aerial's always the answer for a
that
toy
was
like
like
that.
an uncrate thing or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Build the floor higher. I'll crouch down. That would be. I think that'd be fun. So,
Yeah.
that extra $1 million I don't have.
So how long are you back in town now?
Well, we're not sure when we're going back yet. Like
Yeah.
I said, we're kind of figuring out what needs to be true to start production up again. I think we would love to get back this fall. Hungary's in good shape, but it's just.
Yeah, I wonder if it would be hard to travel back and forth like you said you were doing once a month.
No, this would definitely mean just staying there till we were done, and it's I would say we were maybe about halfway through.
Yeah.
The hardest part is this is literally the most I've been home in like 20 years, and the most I've been home all the time since even before we were married. So it's been like, it's so bittersweet because I want to go back to get going again so badly. I so don't want to leave home right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just been incredible to be able to have that much time at home.
Yeah, actual quality time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately forced, but in the same way, like.
But like my job always had me on the road.
Yeah.
So it's hard. And, I've got 2 dogs and.
It's always hard to leave the dogs.
It is.
The husband you can always leave, but
I know.
he's over there shaking his head. The priority list, like,
He can, well, maybe not immediately, but he can get on a plane and come out, those dogs.
Yeah.
They just sit in my office with me all day.
Oh, they gotta love having you
It's not
back.
like I have an office.
got some yes men
behind
there.
my desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, Mom.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah, good job.
Feed us.
Strong work.
I approve. Yeah.
Yeah, I am so excited for the show. It's driving me nuts that you guys are delayed because it's.
I know.
It's been like it's like 20 years I've been wanting this since I first started playing Halo.
Yeah.
I was like in my early 20s, I think, and I've just been dying for this. So I'm so excited, and I so want it to be as great as I know it's going to be. So.
Nerd.
Yeah,
No,
it's so tough because, and we may have talked about this before, everyone has their idea of what they want from something like this. So it's always so tough because
Trying to please everybody.
Yeah, you want fans to be happy, but part of doing this is bringing them something new and different than they get in the games. And so the things that sort of intellectually they want to be the same may not be the things that are gratifying in terms of really getting a different sort of view of the universe and the world and the stories they've heard. So
yeah, fan service only goes so far.
Yeah.
It's actually very short-lived if you look at video game movies. Like fan service is one thing, but then the story doesn't really line up with that. So
So, my hope is, we've recreated the world in a way that it feels familiar and, it feels like a place that they're coming home to, but also getting to see aspects of they really haven't been able to see before. And same with characters. But I've definitely learned after all these years in game development, the challenges on television are super different, and it's really hard. Right? You just don't get the same level of iteration you do with a video game.
Yeah.
Do you have more freedom with what you can do as far as languages and stuff like that being on Showtime? The fact that you're not airing this on CBS, so you can't.
Yeah.
Not there was ever vulgarity in the game. I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I mean we talked a lot about that, and ultimately what I care about is that it's right for the story that we're trying to tell, and it feels authentic to the universe.
Sure.
And so, we have had and will continue to have a lot of conversations around what crosses that line or doesn't.
No pressure.
Yeah, I'm sweating over here thinking, geez, I don't want to do that. But it is interesting, like going back to that previous fact and knowing nothing. Like the closest I've ever gotten to like in production is I was a driver for a movie in Spokane, like driving people around. But like, and seeing how fast that
you
pace
hear
goes.
all the dirt though.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got some good people to drive around.
Yeah.
But it was
Been there
interesting
too.
to see how fast it was, and the fact like like they were shooting it and then they were on to the next thing, and it's like and then somebody go back, oh, we think we need to change this, and then they couldn't. But as you were speaking, you're having some time to go back and go, like, we can kind of tweak this, or maybe this idea is better, or kind of so.
Well, if nothing else, I think what the time has given us is time to really reflect on what we do have, what we have shot and how it's coming together. And it gives us the time to maybe, as we look forward, do a few things differently. Or, you know what, it'd be super helpful if we had some lines that talk to this, because it feels like maybe we have a gap in that, the audience may not understand X, Y, or Z. So let's
go back.
And when you're working at the pace of production, you actually don't get the time to do that. So that's where it's been really valuable.
And this is
frankly,
all live action,
the
correct?
Objectivity.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This is okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Yeah.
As we know from the first time you're on here, I had
Yes.
never played Halo before. Shauna forced me to play. I mean,
I've heard.
I mean,
heard
it was-
you
she
were.
was- well,
You were tutored.
I was
tutored.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it gently. Thrown into some bottomless pit, but yeah, it was a good time. It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been playing
I
through.
think your eyes twitching.
I don't want to play anymore.
We've played through the whole series at this point again since our last interview. It was like,
Awesome.
I was
Oh,
like,
I
okay,
love
bonding
it.
time. Got to go through the whole series front to back. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, it's funny how much I remember still of the game. I was going through. I'm like, oh yeah, there's this thing over here, and I'm like running off.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Well, and we released on PC, I think, since I was here last, and that's been incredible because there's like a whole new audience.
Oh yeah,
Who's getting to sort of experience Halo for the first time now.
yeah I'm a majority PC gamer. I still have Xbox and all that, of course,
Yeah.
too. But like, yeah, it's. I mean, for one, getting the right graphics card and stuff, it's a whole new world when you
Right?
start
Yeah.
throwing money at your system.
Yeah.
Amazing how things get better with more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have in? I guess what can you talk about so far? Is there any stuff you can talk about on the show that people would want to know?
Yeah, give us all the secrets.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we wouldn't want to incriminate you or anything, but yeah. I know you guys are TV sets. If anybody doesn't know, like the level of secrecy around anything is insane.
Yeah.
It's like you walk near a TV set, they're like, "You're signing this, and if you say anything, we might kill you, but we'll
Yeah.
probably just sue you until you're dead."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's it's funny because the game development process is hyper confidential too, but you're like protecting each is so different. Like being able to keep people from seeing a physical set, right, that you have built, versus preventing, code from leaking is a really different thing. I'm trying to think. What can I?
I just want to see a good warthog chase. Warthogs and ghosts.
We do
That
have.
already exists
we
in
do
real life.
have an
We've seen that.
amazing.
Yeah.
We do have an amazing warthog.
Okay.
All right.
We have built. Well, we actually have multiple warthogs for the show.
What are they based off of?
They are based off of because we did the same. We built a warthog for Halo 4, which was built off a Hummer chassis.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So.
I will say this. I mean, and knowing nothing about Halo, and
Griff,
you may-
stop making up animals. Sorry.
when it showed when the Warthog showed up in Forza 4, was really cool.
Yeah.
And that whole I don't know if you were part of that, but that whole like special drive that came, that was really fun.
It was fun, huh?
That was really cool.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
yeah.
Well, what's so nice about doing stuff like that is it lets us sort of break out of the bounds of sort of RIP and what audience expectation is, and at its heart, Halo is just fun, and that was like a great.
It was a really cool thing that nobody expected. Like it was like oh yeah, you're going to play Halo now, and I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Like,
and we all know Alan and his team know how to make a car look good.
they do.
Yes.
They do. And drive well. I mean, I assume
Yeah.
it drives like that in real life.
And
Who
eat
knows?
tires well.
And eat tires well. Yes, exactly. Exactly. That too. To each his own. Yeah.
Well, anyway, how long?
Anywho.
Yeah, so you're hoping to go back in fall.
Hoping to go back in fall.
So you got a couple more months left, just a couple more months left, hopefully.
Yep.
Any
and
other
then post-production.
any other adventures lined up for you now that you're back here?
No, I mean, we're kind of, I may go back, in the next 4 weeks.
Oh wow.
So we'll see if we can pull that off. I think that we're going to try another Airstream trip before we go.
Nice.
Get good use out of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And then pretty much trying to get in as many track days as I can. Because last year I only got in, I don't know, 3 or 4 or something, because I was kind of going back and forth. I did the Lucky Dog. Well, I did 2 hours of Lucky Dog at the end of last season, which was super fun, but just didn't get enough driving last year. So
it's never enough time.
No. Where's your destination, you think, in the Airstream?
Well, if we bring the dogs, then we might just hit the Olympics.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful destination.
No. Yeah.
And then go play on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to home.
It's just so crowded everywhere, right? Like that's sort of the challenge of camping right now, which gets back to the Sprinter. You can kind of show up anywhere and just stop.
Yeah. Walmart parking lot. Stop.
Sounds like you just need to ship the GT4 over to.
I know,
over,
right?
You know, I mean, that'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I do need to work on some kind of Porsche hungry hookup.
There's got to be.
I know.
I mean,
I feel like somebody at Drivers Club would know the answer to that.
I have not applied myself to
just
this
knock
problem
on the
yet.
door.
Yeah.
You have a great personality.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No, I think I'll start with Porsche Europe and see what I
we
can.
can get there? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to Alan. He's got to have a contact.
Yeah. We've got a few.
Yeah.
I'll lean on my brother for that one.
There you go.
But yeah.
I was going to ask you, I was listening to the last episode. You have done some rallies, and we didn't really talk about it on the last one, but you did the gumball even.
I did the gumball, and I did One Lap of America, Cannonball.
Oh, okay. That's a whole. I remember reading
They're
about One Lap
super
America.
different.
Yeah.
They're really different. One is very skill based, and one is very what you're willing to do based.
What are your limits?
With One Lap of America being the very skill based, and gumball being, what are you willing to sacrifice?
How much money do you have for bail?
That's what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was so annoying because for all of the European drivers, they literally could just pay money.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're American, they would actually want to throw you in jail or hold you or whatever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What'd you drive on Gumball?
So the Gumball, it was the first year of the Gumball. And so it was a brand new Mini Cooper. It was literally the first one to come into the East Coast.
Okay.
That I was able to get through Mini. So it was awesome because, people loved that car when it came out.
Yeah.
It was inconspicuous, right? So when you're traveling down the freeway at speed and you go by a cop and there's a red Ferrari, in front of you and a silver Mini and a Porsche behind you, you're not the
Couldn't
car.
have been you.
Yeah.
You're not the car they're going to
Yeah.
stop. Like they have no interest in stopping.
Not the lady in the go-kart.
The little silver square.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's not a good story.
Okay.
It took us, half an hour to get up to speed, and then we just
Eventually.
wouldn't get off the gas.
Yeah.
Right. Like that was our thing. Like we treated every gas stop like a pit stop. Like we were just like, if you imagine, you talk about momentum cars on the track. This was like a momentum car from New York to LA, and so.
That must have been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was. We got stopped twice a day, which was fine as long as we were in a different state when we got stopped. We would be fine.
Yeah. So as long as you're covering 2 states a day is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Getting 2 tickets unless we had swapped drivers in the same state was a challenge, but.
Then you just sit at home and wait for your insurance adjuster to call you. Excuse me, what have you been doing the last week? I don't know. That wasn't me.
That's the thing. If
Yeah.
you get a ticket in an A state, in most cases you could just do an online traffic school
Yep.
Okay.
to get out of it.
Yeah. Defer.
Yeah.
Defer.
So you
your
just
Which is
spent
why
the
you
next
didn't
8
want
weeks-
to. As long as you got 2 in a state, then you were kind of screwed with,
Okay.
yeah.
That drops. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and for One Lap of America, for our listeners, it's basically track to track to track, and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
competing for best time around the track.
Yeah, so you're competing you're competing on best time. The challenge being, depending on where you place in a day, the higher up you are, the sooner you can leave, because they rank you from track to track, and you would have to. And there are times when you would have to travel, 800 miles in a night to get to the next track, like where you wouldn't sleep before you got onto the next track. So. It was super interesting.
That sounds safe.
Yeah.
I know, right? It like goes against like you're eating like drive-through food in your car.
So you're
not
doing laps on the track,
sleeping.
and then you're timed between tracks, correct?
You're not timed between tracks, but you have to be there
At a
for
certain
your
time.
for your
Okay.
when you're up to drive. So and they're sometimes they're tracks and sometimes they aren't, and it's hyper-tuned cars. We had a stock car. We were driving a Noble M400.
A stock car, and you go a Noble M400,
Right.
which is like one of the most hardcore cars you can drive.
Yes.
It was no traction control, no ABS, no power steering.
Yes, but
None of that, right?
But we're up against a Hennessy Viper.
Still.
Right. So
If you can keep it from coming around.
Yeah.
Jeez.
yeah.
When she said stock car, I'm thinking like Coors Light, just NASCAR going across. I'm like, you're going to get seen in that.
I know.
No, I'm thinking like she's driving like a 911 or something.
Yeah.
A Noble M400
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah. And you have no storage space. Like you're doing that whole like camping layered clothes thing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, your helmet would go. We had room for one helmet in the boot, if it was, you could even call it that. And then one helmet would sit in the passenger compartment. Whoever isn't driving is sleeping.
Makes sense. Yeah.
man, yeah, that's a hardcore car. I'm impressed. I had no idea it was a Noble, but
It was amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
It was, we were lucky because when we were headed, we picked up the car in like Ohio and had to go to Indianapolis or something. And we'd never driven the car before. And we managed to get into like the afternoon of a track day on our way down to the track somewhere. I don't know where. So at least got to take the car around. And the only thing that ever broke on the car broke on the way to the first track. There was just a mount piece that we... Amazingly, there was a Noble owner, like somewhere, like saw us parked there at the track and came by to say hi. And we were looking at this part, and he had a way to fix it, and nothing.
The car
nothing
god
else,
smiled upon you.
Yeah.
seriously, nothing
Okay.
else went wrong with the car. I honestly didn't expect the car to make it through the event.
I've heard stories of Noble owners going.
And
it's
Yeah.
miserable.
yeah, and it totally did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can't think of a much worse car to drive across the country in,
Yeah.
honestly, because it's such a track-focused vehicle off
Yeah.
the shore and floor.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like I don't know, a larger Lotus Elise in luxury.
Yeah. But we got top 10. We were super psyched about that.
That's pretty
good.
badass.
Yeah.
Any plans in the future to do more type of things like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look at that stuff opportunistically. So I'm always have an eye out for fun car adventures.
Boy, if only we had one coming up.
Well, we do, but when the next one is coming up, actually, it's coming through here. Is Gold Rush. They're
right.
doing Gold Rush this year. And
What's that?
Gold Rush is the drive all day, party all night kind of
Oh.
Like the nuts
Luxury for
rally.
Play started it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And all those guys,
Yeah.
Amy Shackelford and Amin and stuff like that. But I was surprised they're actually doing it. But they're coming.
You got a chromed out Lamborghini. This is your crew.
See, that's my problem.
And a helicopter to follow you and a lawyer in your passenger seat, because that's
Yeah.
also this crew.
Yeah.
No, I think the lawyer is
more
the guy with the chromed out.
Yeah, it is,
sorry,
yes.
That's sort of the gumball
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the gumball culture, as much as that you have, I think Gold Rush is more, United
Flamboyant.
States
Right.
flamboyancy, and gumball
Right.
is international. Like
Yeah.
we have
Yeah,
some
yeah.
friends here that did gumball, and
Yeah,
we're
John
always
and Paul
talking
did
about it,
gumball.
and the fact of like, when you're flying cars from Italy to Japan and just to
Yeah.
drive around. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I liked the.
I still want to do it, but
yeah, everyone should do
Yeah.
it. But that's why I like just the straightforward New York to LA,
Mhm.
right? Because it's really just about,
Yeah.
getting
Okay.
across the state without getting arrested. And my parents did the original Cannonball
oh wow,
That's right.
back
Yeah.
in '79.
Yeah, for our
so-
listeners, if you haven't listened to the original episode, you should. She has probably the coolest parents in the world. So, I mean, what, Steve McQueen was at the wedding?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was my dad's best man.
Yeah, let's just throw that in there. So,
Yeah.
never heard of him.
yeah.
Sounds like a name to be in the movies, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a race car driver.
Yeah, maybe.
So yes, I'm always up for car antics, frankly.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, it's a perfect time for our next break. So, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more car stories.
Grandpa, what do you call this thing again?
It's a 66 Ford Bronco.
I think you got ripped off.
Why is that, honey?
It's got no Wi-Fi, no USB port, no Bluetooth.
Exactly. I guess we'll just have to talk.
Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
Is that the window button?
It's called a window crank.
Cool. The faster I move it, the faster it goes down.
This moment of escape was created by Haggerty
Being old is kind of cool, Grandpa.
Works for me.
for people who love cars.
And we're back. We were just talking with Kiki on the break about a fun little, was it Christmas present that you ended up with?
Yeah. So, I came down for Christmas, not this past year, but the year before, And there's this, literally, it felt like it was just sparkling. That sort of orange gold Trail 70 that my husband had refurbished for me was sitting in front of the Christmas tree.
Total surprise?
Total surprise.
Oh, so you didn't even know the bike existed before?
I knew there was like shenanigans, like because I heard some things moving around like in the night.
Sando's just being loud.
Yeah.
it's probably pretty hard to quietly move a motorcycle in front of a tree.
Why are you making all this noise?
I know, but it was a total surprise, and it was amazing. Yeah, we're having a little clutch problem. We're trying to get sorted out.
Wow.
I've driven it around the block 3 times, and it needs a little.
I was going to say, in a year and a half. Oh, you haven't been here.
Yeah, I haven't been here. It needs a little something, so we're working on that. But it's funny because I grew up, and my parents had a Trail 70 and a Trail 90, and so there's literally a picture of me as a baby, there's like a bike basket on front of the Trail 70 in which I am stuffed as my mom is riding the Trail 70.
Perfectly safe. What could happen?
Yeah.
I used to ride my brother. We had a 79 Honda Z50, and he used to put me in front of him, and I'd hold on to the center section of the handlebars, and I'd scoot around the yard in like first gear, and I loved it.
Yeah.
It became my first bike as well, but it's pretty funny. I still have the photo.
There's another picture on the Trail 90 where she's used one of my dad's seat belts and has me strapped to her in the front.
That seems legit.
This is the same mom who was racing with you 4 months pregnant. She was 4 months pregnant, and she won 4th place at a mini race.
Yeah,
right?
So, you know.
I want your parents.
I know, right?
Or just your childhood memories.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle I'm alive.
Do you have other motorcycles?
No, I used to. I had a Ducati briefly for like a year. Dylan, my husband, rides Ducatis. Well, he rides motorcycles in general. Now I just have a Vespa.
Still cool.
I took it across the commute, like across 520 a few times, and it was just stressful. And, you know, I didn't grow up on motorcycles except in a basket or
so you just need to get that driver just to drive you across the bridge with you in the basket on the Vespa. You'd be fine. Yeah.
And it was just like drivers are just so unaware. And so, so now I just zip around town in the Vespa. I mean, I frankly drive the Vespa right now more than I do a car because
you can now too.
Yeah, I'm not commuting. Most of my driving is downtown unless I'm going to the track. So
nice little track bike.
Kind of, if you want to scout the track ahead of time.
I'm serious,
I still want a Honda Monkey more than life. Like, I still want one really, really bad. It's on the top of my list. I've been riding motorcycles my whole life, and the only bike I still really want is a Honda Monkey.
I want to do your idea. I'm not going to give it away on here, but I want to do your idea.
Yeah, we have a Honda Monkey idea, so we might reach out to some motorsports contacts because we have a pretty cool idea that I think would make a really fun episode. And
I bet Dan would live through it. I'm not sure I would, but I bet Dan would.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast this week on the murder hornets, and Vespa means hornet, by the way. That's what it translates to because of the buzzing sound they used to make when they were new, so they called them Vespas because they sounded like buzzing hornets. So there's your fun random fact.
A slightly more aggressive.
You don't think of a Vespa as a hornet because they're such cute little bikes.
Now I want a black and white or black and yellow Vespa.
Right? Yeah, so.
And a matching helmet.
Yeah.
All right, Garov.
Nobody can have as much yellow as Garov. Nobody.
I will say it's funny because I'll go out on the Vespa and Dylan's sort of his around town bike is a Sport 1000, which is obviously super glamorous and sexy. And then I'm on my like Vespa, but I do have a different kind of cornering ability in the Vespa that he does not necessarily have in the city.
Oh, yeah. So you can just do tight little turnarounds. They're super maneuverable. I don't know. I think they're both super appealing to totally different audiences.
And
that's
in
all.
town, there's only so fast you can drive. I mean, the Vespa will go 75.
Oh, that's quick.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that fast. Yeah.
It's a 150. So
I don't know if I want to go that fast on a Vespa.
I know, it's super jarring. So I'll be in the crouch because because it's a vintage styled, so it's got like literally the size of my fist windshield.
Like a 4-inch little
riser. So I'll just get, because otherwise I just get buffeted around. So I get in the full crouch just to get to like 50.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love little bikes. I think that the older I've gotten, I've
much fun.
I've had street bikes, race bikes, dirt bikes, all that. I'm like, nah, now I just want to go play. I don't care about any of the other stuff. I just want to go play.
Just stay alive.
Although when we were in Alpine, man, I wanted a motorcycle so bad.
That's because every time we walked into Jack's garage, there were two of them just begging to be ridden.
And I didn't have any of my gear with me, and I still have all my dirt bike gear, so I'm like, oh, I should have brought that.
Yes.
With all the room we had in the car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You could put it on the roof.
I did do.
I couldn't even have a pillow.
I did do this is a few years ago. My brother and Dylan and a good friend of ours did a flat track.
Oh, yeah.
We did like a 3-day flat track class with Richie Oliver
Dang.
down in Northern California.
That must have been
maybe
horrible.
Southern California. Yeah, it was hot.
No, but I mean, just the experience.
It's
Yeah.
Had you ever done that
amazing.
before?
No.
Okay.
I broke my finger.
Okay.
It's not right if you break your finger.
No,
I've
like
broken all
literally, I think our one friend like tore his ACL. We had like it was brutal, and it was so much fun.
Mine.
I mean,
so you.
as well for someone who was sort of a beginner motorcycle rider at the time, like what an amazing way to learn sort of bike control and it was super fun. Anytime you have to put like metal on the bottom of your shoe,
Yep.
like a metal plate.
Very Mad Max of you.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
What were you riding in the flat track school?
Oh, they were like little, I think they were like 150 dirt bikes.
Oh,
like
okay, yeah.
Little,
Just modified one. Yeah.
yeah.
Because you're
Lowered.
getting
But
those
and
like
all it is,
sideways,
it's
right?
just they just have the slicks on the back, right?
Yeah, because
In
you're
a
kicking
dirt
out the
track.
rear and
Yeah.
just sliding it all the way around the
Yeah,
corners.
so you've got knobby on the front and slick on the back.
Drifting a motorcycle. No
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of that at
Yeah.
Monroe, actually.
It is amazing.
My race team used to run flat track, and I used to go out
Yeah.
there, and I used to run just for fun. I'd run out and do the flat track on
Yeah.
other people's bikes. It's a ton of
Yeah.
fun. Great way to get injured.
It is.
Real quick.
I spent a lot of time picking that little bike up.
Yeah.
Day 2, I was so sore just from picking up the bike.
This isn't fun. Let's do it again.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But
Oh,
yeah.
the adrenaline keeps you going,
Yeah,
though.
it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Hey, we preach that to death. The best thing you can ever do, motorcycle, car, anything. Track days, because
Yes.
you'll just learn so much about driving, riding, everything. It's so
Yep.
applicable.
Yep.
So.
And it's kind of like, taking skid pad courses, right? Nothing really helps you understand the dynamics and physics and balance like that.
Yeah, nothing like running through the wet at like 80 miles an hour and
That's
flicking your
right.
car sideways. I'm like, all right, sort it out.
That's
okay.
right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That was my response.
Pretty much.
So there's some Avant stuff coming up that you are a part of. We can't talk about it on the show, so we can't go into it too deep yet because it's not out there yet. But our many Avants listeners should look forward to that because that's going to be a very cool thing.
Our Avance listeners.
I know.
Do you know what one of those is?
I promise you, by the end of the week, I will be an Avance listener.
Okay. You hear that, Adam? She's coming.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
I
you've
am.
sort of been drafted into Avants.
Yes,
You're
you
like,
have.
you're going to
Yeah.
sign up at some
know,
point, so here
I
you
know.
go.
I'm going to.
You're famous in Avance
promise.
already, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, our many Avance members, our sponsor, you guys will look forward to even more about Kiki coming up soon. There are some events coming up. The driving experience that was supposed to be at Emerald Downs is postponed, of course, because we would all be standing very close in a parking lot and swapping into each other's cars. Probably the best way to spread a disease out there. It's probably not true, but in a social environment, it is.
There's a lot better ways to swap
Yeah, I
a
was going to
disease.
say,
but yeah, okay.
yeah. So obviously that's been postponed until we can get a better handle on the situation. But Portland, though, Taste of Motorsports event. That'll be a track day for our Portland members. I just hit up the Avance Portland guys today. Very helpful on a few routes I was looking at. So thank you to our Avance Portland members. I was looking at a few back roads I hadn't done before, and they're like, yeah, you should totally do this one. So
There are
thanks,
back roads in the Pacific Northwest that you haven't done.
there is one in particular I've been looking at, and every time I like.
Weird to me. I mean, yeah, it's Dan. I mean,
Every time I bring up a route and Google Maps doesn't have the little, the street view, I'm like, oh, is this going to turn into gravel or what? And they're like, nope, let's go for it. It's one lane, but go for it. I'm like, all right. So thank you for that, Avance members, Portland. But there is a bunch of track stuff coming up, which you should know about. Turn 2 at the Ridge on September 5th. Another drive to be coming
I
up.
will be there. I will
Yeah.
be at that one.
So, yeah, listeners, if you're into that, you can say hi to Kiki at the track because, she'll be there in her Cayman GT4 teaching you how it's done, most likely.
That was so funny. Kiki showed up today, and Thad, the Drivers Club, was like, you look so familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Were you at the track? Yes. Oh, okay.
Yes. Drivers Club member Thad had his GT2 RS out at the track at the same time you did. And
I was briefly behind him.
Yeah. Hard to catch that car.
Yeah. No matter what you're driving, it's hard to catch a
Yeah.
GT2 on the track.
Yeah.
But that's all I've got for today.
Thank you for coming back. I know
My
we've
pleasure.
been begging for a while, but we missed you, and we wanted you to come back. The Halo thing's just a bonus. So,
Yeah.
but,
We'll never be as cool as you, but we're glad
No.
to do
I'll
our
try
show.
and gather more stories before I come back next.
So excited for all the things that you can't share yet, because that's the stuff I'm dying to hear, and I'm making my.
We're just teasing people like, you should join Avance. Why? I can't tell you. You should wait for this. Why? I can't tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for this episode of Rain City Supercars, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there, enjoy the drive.